Have you ever stepped into your own space, your room, your desk, or even your mind, and felt like you just wandered into an abandoned battlefield? Clothes piled on the chair, each one like a white flag of surrender, papers, parking tickets, and hurried notes scattered around like remnants of an untold story. A cold, dusty glass of water left behind, a quiet trace of the days you forgot how to live for yourself. If you think this is just laziness or a busy phase, stop for a moment, because this mess isn't just about being disorganized. It's a cry from deep within you, a place that's been invaded, suffocated by the abuse of a narcissist. Picture Anna, a regular woman with simple dreams. She stands in the middle of her small apartment, clutching an old sweater, eyes blurred with tears. She whispers, her voice breaking, "Why can't I throw this away? Why can't I get out of this mess?" That whisper isn't just frustration over clutter. It's an echo from the days she was trapped in a toxic relationship, a narcissist who left behind not only emotional scars, but also a chaotic space that serves as living proof of the silent war she endured. I've walked through days like those, the kind where the mess wasn't just something I saw, but something I felt deep in my bones. Today, I want to share a truth that will change the way you see it all. Clutter isn't the enemy you need to eliminate, it's a trauma response, a sign of everything you've been through while surviving narcissistic abuse. This is a long, emotional journey, but I promise you, it's one of the most worthwhile journeys you'll ever take. Because at the end of this road, you won't just reclaim tidiness, you'll reclaim yourself. Take another look around you. That pile of stuff. The books you bought but haven't read, the storage boxes stacked in the corner, the scraps of paper scribbled with fleeting thoughts. They're not just lifeless objects lying around. They are fragments of a bigger story, etched in the shaky lines of a soul that's been deeply wounded. For Anna, every item in her apartment holds a memory. That old sweater isn't just a piece of fabric, it's a reminder of the days she bent over backward trying to please someone who was never satisfied. The messy pile of papers isn't just clutter, it's a symbol of the days she was too drained to even face herself. Clutter, in this case, isn't carelessness, it's a response, a way your mind copes with wounds from the past. Think of your mind as a high-tech control center. Everything neatly arranged, from planning your day to managing your emotions. But when you're caught in the whirlwind of a narcissist, with words that make you question your own memory and actions that shrink your sense of self, that control center gets attacked. The drawers are ripped open, the alarms are blaring, and suddenly even simple tasks like folding clothes or tidying a corner become overwhelming hurdles. Psychologist Bessel van der Kolk once said, "Trauma is not just stored in the mind. It lives in the body, in how we exist in the world." Clutter is how your body and mind express that trauma. When you've been abused, your brain switches into survival mode. It temporarily shuts down non-essential functions like organizing or tidying up just to keep you going one day at a time. And the clutter around you, it's the shell you've unknowingly built, a fortress that protected you from even deeper pain, from memories you weren't ready to face. But don't get it twisted. This shell is not a sign of weakness. It's proof that you've been fighting. Carl Jung, one of the greatest psychologists, once said, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." Your clutter does not define you. It's the remnants of a battle, and the fact that you're still standing is living proof of the extraordinary strength within you. Let's go back to Anna. Before she met him, she was full of life. She loved peaceful mornings with a hot cup of tea, loved the feeling of freedom that came from shaping her life her own way. But then she met him, a charming man with a smile that melted every defense and promises that felt like light at the end of a tunnel. At first, she thought she had found a safe harbor, but that harbor turned out to be a prison. He started controlling her. He told her she shouldn't wear her favorite dress because it didn't suit her. He mocked her when she shared her dreams, saying, "You're not good enough." He made her doubt herself. When she questioned his shady behavior, he turned it around and blamed her. "You're too sensitive. You're imagining things." Day by day, pieces of Anna were taken away. She no longer recognized herself in the mirror. She couldn't even hear her own inner voice anymore. Her life became a chaotic mess, not because she wanted it that way, but because she no longer had a choice. He had turned her into a puppet in his own twisted play, and when she finally cut the strings, when she found the courage to walk away, she stood in a space overflowing with clutter, feeling like a survivor after a storm, not knowing where to even begin. This is what narcissistic abuse leaves behind, a deep sense of lost agency. When you live with someone like that, every thought is monitored, every feeling is manipulated, every action is controlled. Judith Herman, author of Trauma and Recovery, once wrote, "Trauma happens when your power is taken away, and recovery begins when you take it back." When Anna got out, she wasn't just facing emptiness, she was facing the chaos he left behind. And ironically, in a world that had once been entirely controlled by someone else, that clutter became something she could hold on to. It became her fortress, a place where she could reclaim her power, even if only through the mess. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, is there something in your space that you just can't let go of? An old shirt you no longer wear? A stack of papers you can't bring yourself to open? A gift from the past that still hurts to look at but you keep anyway? Don't rush to blame yourself. This isn't laziness, it's the way you're taking back control. One item, one small decision at a time, in a life that was once dictated by someone else. Now, picture Anna standing in front of a small, dusty wooden box. Inside are fragments of her past. Old text messages, a faded bracelet, a photograph she can't bring herself to look at for too long. She lifts the lid, her hands trembling, and tears fall like rain. She wants to rip everything apart, to throw it all away and forget those days. But she can't. She wants to run, away from this room, away from this clutter, away from herself. And yet, in that still moment, she hears a quiet voice inside. "This isn't failure, this is a sign that I survived." Here's the truth I want you to face. The clutter in your life is not a sign that you've failed. It's a trauma response, a way your mind chose to protect you during your darkest days. When you've been abused by a narcissist, when you've been pushed into a corner of self-doubt and fear, your brain flips into emergency mode. It doesn't care if your room is tidy or spotless. It only cares about keeping you standing through the toxic words, the sleepless nights, the moments you questioned whether you were still worthy. That mess isn't carelessness. It's a shield you carried, even if you didn't realize it. But you don't have to live under that shield forever. You can start taking it off, not by charging in and cleaning like a tornado, but by understanding that the mess was once your companion. Bessel van der Kolk once said, "Healing doesn't mean erasing trauma, it means learning to live with it." Your clutter is part of that journey. It's a sign that you've been through a war, and now it's time to move forward. Not with perfection, but with compassion for yourself. So how do you begin? Try this. Pick one small item, a shirt, a piece of paper, and decide its fate. You don't need to make everything perfect in a day. Just take one small step, like a quiet beat in a song, where you begin to find your rhythm again. And as you declutter the outside, don't forget to clear space inside too. Grab a journal, write down how you feel, call a friend and talk. Let those buried emotions breathe, because they too deserve healing just as much as your space does. Picture Anna once more. She stands in the middle of her apartment, holding a large bag, and begins her journey. She folds each piece of clothing, organizes each scrap of paper. Some things she keeps, not because she needs them, but because they remind her of the strength she discovered within herself. Some things she lets go of. And with every item she releases, she feels like she's shedding an invisible burden. She stands up, wipes the sweat from her brow, and places a small potted plant on the table. A simple yet powerful symbol of new life, of hope beginning to bloom. This is what I want you to understand. Every item you let go of is a victory. Not the kind of loud, spotlight-filled victory, but a quiet, profound one. The kind you feel deep in your heart. Decluttering isn't just about tidying your space, it's about reorganizing your story. It's about opening a door to let the light back in after days shrouded in darkness. Your clutter may be a trauma response, but it doesn't have to define the rest of your life. You have the power to choose how you move forward, a life no longer imprisoned by the past, no longer weighed down by what the narcissist left behind. And you don't have to do this alone. Reach out to those who understand you, a close friend, a trusted family member, or a compassionate professional listener. Carl Jung once said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." Your clutter may be the imprint of trauma, but connection with others is the light that guides you through it. Your strength, the same strength that carried you through your darkest days, will continue to carry you forward, day by day, step by step. As Anna stands in front of the mirror looking at the now tedious space around her, she smiles. It's not the smile of perfection, it's the smile of someone who is finding her way back to herself. The clutter had once been her companion, a protective shell that kept her safe through her darkest days. But now she's ready to say goodbye. And I want to tell you this, you can do it too. The clutter in your life isn't something to wipe away with a snap of your fingers. It's a testament to the battles you've fought, and a reminder that you are stronger than any story that's ever been told about you. If this journey has touched you, if you see a part of yourself in these words, leave a sign, share your thoughts, offer a word of encouragement. We'll walk this path together as fellow travelers through the dark, and come back again, because the story isn't over. Next time, we'll dive deeper into how to face the lingering memories, the ghosts you're now ready to release. Until then, just begin, even if it's just one item, one small corner, one single thought. You are not alone, and ahead of you is a sunrise, not the spotlight of a grand stage, but the gentle light of freedom, the light of you.